Welcome to the Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon series. I'm your host, Captain Matt, and today we're talking about the dangers of boating. How dangerous is boating, and is it something that you should think about? Well, according to the news media and just thinking about boating in general, you can always find an article of somebody getting hurt, of a death, drowning, and you think about it, you've got these propellers spinning around like knives on the back of the boat. You've got the danger of water and potential drowning, and you've got the danger of other boating people out there that who knows what they're going to do. And sometimes it's very, very bad. This idea came from some comments on my YouTube channel on one of my last videos. This lady was saying how unsafe bow riders were, and she referenced an article, The Death of Safe Boat Design, where she said bow riders are a death trap, and if you value your life, you'll get a certain type of boat. I don't know whether she was promoting it or what, but in the article, it referenced some stats from the U.S. Coast Guard. So I thought I would dive deep into it. And when I did, it said, hey, this is something that you should share because I think it's important for people to know. And maybe boating is too dangerous. Maybe it's overblown media hype. And I'll let you decide, and I'll give you my opinion at the end. So when you look, the cause of accidents, these are the types of accidents in the order of highest to lowest. So the highest number of accidents were vessels hitting vessels. So two boats colliding in one way or another. Usually one is at fault. Maybe both of them weren't doing the proper things. Next is a vessel striking an object. So if you've watched this video, I'm shocked that this guy didn't get badly injured, whether he was planning on it or how it happened, but it wasn't good. The next is boats running aground. So this is a boat at the Lake of the Ozark. This is by the main bridge in Osage, and just there's several boats that run aground there a year, and that's just one lake in the Midwest. A boat sinking or swamping, so taking on water. This is a boat that swamped in Texas that you can see how rough it is, and just operating and took that water on, maybe took a wave over the bow, and things went south quick. And then finally, we have man overboard. So an incident where somebody fell off the boat and there was a man overboard. So here's the actual numbers of accidents, deaths, and the total number of injuries. So you can see collision with recreational vessels was top, fixed objects next, and you can see the numbers there. So what types of boats are most prone to these accidents? Was that lady's comments justified? Well, according to the research, yeah, the biggest number of incidents happen with open motorboats. So bow riders, center consoles, jet boats, aluminum fishing boats, anything that has that open bow that's powered. That was the number one vessel type that had an issue by a pretty good margin. Next was personal watercraft. Then came cabin power boats. So any power boat that had a cabin on board, like this cruiser here. Next came kayaks and canoes. And then finally was pontoons and tritoons. So when you look at it, when you look at the numbers, you can see that, yeah, open motorboats was over twice as prone to an incident as personal watercraft. You get down to pontoons and only less than 200 incidents overall. Well, that led me to ask the question. The numbers can be manipulated. How many boats are on the water? So in the U.S., this is the United States Coast Guard reporting these numbers. 11.8 million registered boats in the U.S. and under 3,000 incidents, 613 deaths. Now, I don't want to minimize any of those deaths. However, with almost 12 million boats and that few of casualties and deaths, tell me maybe this is the media blowing things out of proportion. But then I kept digging. I kept digging into, okay, the power boats there's 10.3 million, and these are the best guesses I could get, comparable numbers. So there's 10.3 million power boats on the market. So that makes up the open motorboat and the cabin motorboats. Knowing what I do about the industry, the open motorboats is probably 80 to 90% of the total boat market. So yes, they do have the largest number of casualties, but they also have a significantly higher number of them on the waterways. 1.2 million registered watercraft, personal watercraft, 2.8 other. So I'm not really sure what's all consistent in that other. They are registered power boats. That's the one thing I know about them. I just don't know what style. And then canoes and kayaks, 500,000 that are registered. I don't know whether all kayaks and canoes get registered. My gut tells me no. But when you look at the percentage, 500,000 of them and the number of casualties in kayaks, it tells me actually that canoes and kayaks are probably on a percentage scale more dangerous. And certainly the total number of deaths would say that that's the case. So we're going to focus on the powerboat segment, but what caused, I think this is where the learnings were valuable to me, and why I wanted to make this video is clearly I don't think powerboating is so dangerous as to say you shouldn't do it. But I think there are things that you can do that will help make powerboating not only more safer, but also more enjoyable. So here were the leading causes of the incidents that did happen. So the biggest culprit by a long shot was operator inattention, failure to look out, and an inexperienced operator. So those were by a long shot the 1, 2, and 3. I put it all under one category of operator error. And it's one of the reasons why I'm putting together a training program on how to become a better boat operator, a safer boat operator, so that you can have more fun. The next cause was speed. Inappropriate speed for the conditions, just going fast in general, typically at night. That at the Lake of the Ozarks, that powerboat, that almost every time a powerboat runs ashore at night, it's because they're speeding at night. I think it's a 25 mile an hour speed limit on the Lake of the Ozarks after dusk, or after dark. But every time a boat runs aground, it's because they're going 60 and they don't read the water right. They think they're in a place where they're not, and they run aground. Next was alcohol. The operator being, I don't know whether it was intoxicated or not, but alcohol consumption was involved and contributed to the issue. Next was mechanical, some sort of system failure that caused the incident. Navigation was next, improper navigation, weather, and then it was dangerous water conditions, and then the final one was waves. So the force of wakes and the force of waves, usually that's going to be where a boat swamps, takes on water, or maybe runs into another boat because they don't have control. So those are the things, and I think this is where we can learn some things, especially for new boaters, that if you look, operator inattention, improper lookout, and operator inexperience makes up well over half of the incidents. So that led me to the decision to make that program on how to get people to operate their boat safely. What do you need to know? Some ways to understand how your boat runs. And that's going to be a project that I'm working on this summer. I don't know when I'll release it, but if you're interested, shoot me a note, leave me a message, or just email me, captain@boatbuyerssecretweapon.com, and I'll give you some advance notice and maybe a discount, maybe even and demo it for me. Tell me what you think about it. So just email me if you're interested. But here are the primary contributing factors as they get into a little bit more. Alcohol use, although it was 4th or 5th on the list, it actually was by far the leading cause of death. Certainly when alcohol was involved, there was typically excessive speed involved as well. And it led to a bigger, more deadly incident. So, that jumped out at me. Improper lookout, operator inattention, and operator inexperience, again, were the biggest culprits. Machinery failure, water hazards, and awake and force, again, are more of the environment, but some of that is boat handling. The machinery failure is typically going to be improper maintenance. So you can pause this and take a look at all the numbers. I'm not going to go through them, but there's a couple other things that jumped out that I thought, one, surprised me, but two, I thought would be valuable for you as a listener. And then I've got some suggestions as well. So if you look at the percentage of accidents that were fatal by month, if you look, May, June, July, August are the lowest ones in the bunch. So you would think, for me, I was like, oh, well, the summer is certainly the biggest problem. That's when most of the problems are happening in the bad ones. It turns out that most of the deaths happen October, November, February, March, when the water's cold. People aren't wearing life jackets. Typically, they're fishermen and fisherwomen, and there's also fewer boaters on the water to lend assistance. If you've been on the water, boaters tend to be very, very friendly and helpful. But when you're on a cold lake, cold waterway, and an incident happens, there's nobody around, you're not wearing a flotation device, that's when things can be deadly. I never wear my life jacket when I'm operating a boat. I operate either a Tritoon on an inland waterway or a 25-foot bow rider on an inland waterway or a 36-foot bow rider on an inland waterway. And I'm a very competent driver, and I only boat in the summertime. For me, it's a choice I make. My daughters always wear their life jacket. They don't go down to the dock without their life jacket. So in my mind, I'm a practical safety person. If I was to be out fishing in October and November, you can be assured I would wear my life jacket, because the risk reward is the risk is too much for the reward of the comfort of not wearing the life jacket, and I would find one that works. But as a pleasure boater in the summer, no, I'm not going to wear it. But I think this is something to think about depending on your boating style. The next thing that jumped out with me was the time of day. So most of the fatalities are happening in the AM, 12 a.m. to 2:30 a.m., 2:30 to 4 a.m., and then that it kind of in the middle of the afternoon, it goes down. Again, a lot of those have to do with speed. A lot of those have to do with alcohol. So here are my suggestions for you. Is number one, and when I train people on the water, this is in the one-on-one that I do. Pay attention. If you pay attention as a boat operator, know what to look for. I talk about having a mental map of the waterway and other boats. Which way are they heading? How fast are they going? What is the water conditions? Which way am I going and where am I going to go? Where are their obstructions? Where are their channel markers? Where are their dangers, buoys, things like that? That's the number one thing when it's running a boat. Because here's the thing, it's easy to run a boat. It's easy to hop on a boat and get out and go. What's difficult is to do it in a way that's safe, that's comfortable for the people on board, and that is, what's the word I'm looking for? Courteous to other boaters. So if you always pay attention, if you have that mental map and you're aware of your surroundings, you're going to be in good shape. If you're fiddling with your phone, playing with the stereo, chatting away, getting liquored up, not paying attention, that's when things get bad. Get trained and operated on your boat properly. I can spend 2 hours with a brand new boater that doesn't know anything about boats and get them to a level where I'm confident if I'm on that same waterway with them that they're going to know what to do. Now, there's some things I can give them that is going to make them even better if they take the next couple of days and do some maneuvers and practice some things that I've showed them. They're going to get even better. And that's why I'm so excited about this program I'm creating, is because I'm going to take what I do in person, I'm going to put it together in, something that I've charged $300 to do to first-time boaters, and they loved it. They are super happy to have that training, and their confidence level is through the roof, and their skill level is through the roof. Taking that to deliver online, so that you can get that same training for a fraction of the cost, but then you can go back and revisit it. You can have it on your phone while you're on the water, and it's just like I'm there, and show you just a handful of tips and tricks that are going to make you significantly better. Suggestion 2, watch the alcohol. Hey, I like to have a couple beers when I'm out on the water. If I'm operating the boat, it's a couple. That's where I limit it, if any. But I'm also have the advantage of, when I'm on the water, there's multiple competent boat operators typically that can take over. And so we just take turns. If you're the sole operator, hey, just pay attention. It matters. And there's other people that you can impact with your choices. So, including my family. And that's why I say, but I'm not a teetotaler and say zero. Just have a beer, have 2 beers. Don't have 10 beers. Just be smart about it, and realize that it's not just you that you're impacting. It can be others, because those deaths very seldom are the driver. Oftentimes it's other bystanders that are impacted by your choices. So just remember that. Keep life jackets handy. Again, I told you, and you can tell I'm not a U.S. Coast Guard trainer. I'm a real world boater that's trying to give real world advice that I think is practical, that you'll actually use. Keep your life jackets handy. If it's cold out, if you're at night, if you're not an experienced boater, if you're in a flats boat or a bass boat where there's no gunnel, there's no freeboard, then you should be wearing a life jacket at all times. I boat in pontoons and bow riders, and I boat in inland waterways. I'm not offshore, so my risk level is much, much lower. My kids, like I said, always wear their life jackets. So for me, it's life jackets are out, extra ones are tucked under the seat, but for everybody on board, their life jackets are out and nearby. So that's my style. In my style of boating, if you're boating in the cold, if you're boating on a boat that has very, very low freeboard or low sides, like a flats boat, a bay boat, or a bass boat, yeah, it's different. If you're in a tippy boat, if you're in an aluminum fishing boat that's, got a V bottom, yeah, I probably would wear it. So be smart based on your style of boating. Maintain your boat properly. Some of the incidents are because the boats aren't maintained properly. Hey, if you maintain it properly, not only is your resale going to be better, your boating time is going to be more enjoyable, but you're also going to be safer. You're not going to have something catastrophic happen, and now you're left in a situation that's dangerous when you don't have power. So maintain it properly. If you're offshore, if you're a saltwater boater, hey, have your ditch bag, have your EPIRB when you're offshore. You know the stories where, somebody went offshore fishing, their boat capsized, they had some issue, and they're searching for them for 2 weeks. Well, if you've got your ditch bag with your supplies, with your water, with your safety equipment, your flares, all of that stuff, and you have your EPIRB, which is an electronic beacon that they can pinpoint. It's a GPS beacon, basically, and they can pinpoint, hey, Captain Matt is there. Let's go there and let's go get him. And that's important. Again, the safety is all about your boating style and where you're at. If I'm on a 100-acre lake, I don't need that. But if I'm going offshore, I do. I absolutely should have it. And again, if you're going offshore, have a float plan. Let somebody know, hey, we're going out. Here's our fishing spot that we're probably going to go to. We should be back by 5 o'clock. I'll check in with you when we get back. If I don't check in, hey, notify somebody and let them know, because things can happen. So those are some suggestions that I know some of the safety first guys are going to say, oh, you have to wear your life jacket at all time. I'm a fan of Mike Rowe's safety third comment, the Dirty Jobs guy, the Way I Heard It podcast. I really like his approach. and it's safety third. It's, hey, be smart, be self-reliant, and it's have some accountability, make smart choices, but be aware that it's not, you're going to do it. You're boating to have fun. You're not boating for to be 100% safe. If you wanted to be 100% safe, you could never leave your house. But be smart about safety and think about it. Just know that, hey, the enjoyment, having fun is important, but have safety third. Have it on your mind. But that's not where every decision comes from, because if it was, you would never go boating. And I think that's what that lady's comment was about is, hey, if anybody gets hurt ever, it's a bad thing. Well, limit the things that you do that are going to cause problems. Let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts on safety, your thoughts on my suggestions. And again, this is just coming from a boater. This is not coming from a foundation. This is not coming from any organization, any corporation, the U.S. Coast Guard, anything like that. This is just my opinion, my suggestions as an experienced boater, typically in freshwater, which does make a big difference in the way you approach things. Not a fisherman, not boating on a bass boat or a flats boat or something like that, boating in a big, deep bow rider and pontoons. And that biases sometimes my suggestions. And saltwater people, they have other ideas when they hear my comments because they come from a different perspective. So I would love to hear your thoughts and your comments. Check out the U.S. Boat Expo. We brought 20 experts together to share their different opinion, their different expertise in the boating world. If you're looking to buy a boat or involved in boating, subscribe to the channel. We've got over 150 videos now, over 12,000 subscribers. Join the group. We're always releasing new stuff, and YouTube suggested a few videos for you. Thanks a lot, and remember, life truly is better on a boat.